Can't you see that I'm the one who understands you? Happy Vlogmas Day 14. It's Vlogmas Day 14. We made it nearly. Is it over halfway there? I don't know. I don't know about you, but like water just hits so uniquely for me in the mornings. Good morning. As you can just see, I ate my breakfast, but then Ben came in.
Oh, my stomach.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
he's not well. Ben came in, so I was chatting to him and I ate most of my breakfast whilst talking. Have some water. Have you drank any water today? No, the rule is hydrate before you caffeinate. Cheers.
Vitamin D is the best for men. And depression.
It is. Vitamin D is phenomenal. And especially for the... Go again. No, try it. See? Way! I was just thinking about 2022 because I feel like that's what we do in December. And I just had the cute, fun, fresh realization that I have not gone on a date all 2022. Stop. Right, besties. I said we would kind of delve into this subject a bit more, a la podcast style, but we're just chatting. And I poured myself a Malibu for the occasion. Cheers. Yeah, I just had this realization that all 2022, I have not gone on a single day. I have not been talking to anybody. Well, I've been talking to people, but we're not going to get into that. I have not been talking to anybody new. I just have had no interest in dating in 2022. Like 2022 as a whole for me has been a year, and it has been exciting and it has been transformative, and there was just no men involved in that. And yeah, there's just been no men involved in my life in 2022, and I thought we'd talk about it because I feel like, especially as women, now I'm not stereotyping and I'm not being heteronormative, I'm purely just speaking from my experience, but as a woman I always saw myself like 28 was the age I would be like engaged, I would be like with the person that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. And I don't know about you, but for me personally, 28 is definitely not what I thought it would be in so many ways. And I think, to be honest, I felt a lot more pressure to be a certain way or have a certain life or have a certain person in my life by the time I was 28 when I was younger. And now I'm like, I'm so young. Like, I don't know what it is. I have just flipped society's standards on their head and kind of in my own head been like, I've basically just already smashed through the narrative in my head that by 30, if you don't have everything figured out, then you're not going anywhere, you're not doing anything. I think I've just smashed through this narrative in my head already. I think 2020 definitely accelerated my personal growth, and to be honest, I don't know what I have got to where I am now without those 2 years of realizing things. You know, I've just realized so many things in the last 2 years of my life, and one of those things is like, life does not end at 30, or life as a woman, if you don't have a certain relationship or a certain level of success by the time you're 30, like, it actually does not matter. And I think the main way I have been able to do that is just following women online who are in their 30s, who are 31, 32, 35, 37, 40, whatever age, older than their 20s essentially, and listen to their perspectives and just realized, wait, this thing that we're all trying to be sold as women, that like if you don't have everything together by 30 is an actual lie. I don't know about you, but I'm just so excited. Like, I couldn't feel less pressure at the moment to get a house, get a boyfriend, get a husband, reach a certain level of my career, because I've started to look at the careers of people who only started at 30, and I'm gonna list you a few. J-Lo, like, got famous when she was 30. Like, J-Lo no one knew JLo's name before she was 30. Miss Kim Kardashian, she was 30 when season 1 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians dropped. There are so many people who didn't reach like their pinnacle of their life success before 30. I think that kind of fed into my year of not dating anyone this year, because basically I think before, when I was dating, I had this idea that like I had certain markers that I had to reach in my head. So there was always like a rush on dating or like a pressure on dating. I was like dating to marry, essentially. And I didn't even know that. And I didn't even like, it wasn't like a conscious choice that I made that I was like, okay, I'm dating to marry now. Like, where's my husband? It was just kind of always subconscious. Like it would pass a certain mark in my relationship and I'd be like, okay, do I see myself with this person for a long time? I don't know. I think because over the last 2 years, I've like released this pressure on myself to like have a certain life and do certain things by the age of 30. And if I don't get everything done by 30, then my life is over. I've just really been able to prioritize what I want to prioritize. And in 2022, the last thing I was prioritizing was a relationship. I had been in a relationship since 2018 up until 2021, and then before that I was in a relationship like on and off up till until 2018. It kind of only finished then. I'd been in 2 serious, you could say, relationships more or less back to back. Now they weren't directly back to back because one of them was on and off for so long, and it was off, but I just didn't see it, you know, we were just living in fantasy land. But basically I was so ready by the time that 2022 rolled around. And again, I unconsciously made this choice. It's not like at the start of 2022 I was like, that's it, we're on a man ban, we are done, like no more men, like no more dating, I'm not interested in anyone. But I just didn't prioritize it in 2022. Like my priority in 2022 was mind, body, soul. Maybe the last few years, you know, you've been prioritizing dating and you've been dating people just to date them, or you've been in and out of relationships, or you feel like pressure to get a relationship or find a relationship, and you feel like this unmounting pressure that maybe you're in your late 20s and your 30s is coming and you still haven't found someone, you still haven't dated someone, you still haven't got a relationship. But when I tell you, there is nothing more empowering than focusing on yourself and focusing on being like, okay, what kind of year do I want to have this year for me? And I just thought for today's vlogmas video, like, why not get up close and personal about my dating life, and why not just bring you in to what has been going on? And to be honest, when it comes to me and dating, like, I don't like dating apps. Yes, I did meet one of my serious first boyfriends on a dating app. Yeah, I do feel like dating apps are different if you're in a small town, because it's like you match with someone and you know of them and you've seen them before, but you've just never had the opportunity to connect on that level. Whereas I feel like when you're on dating apps in a big city, it's just so shallow. That like, that's the only, like, I even feel myself, right? I would be on these dating apps and I would feel myself like I'm judging these people. I'm like, oh no, he's not over 6'2", like it could never work. Whereas in reality, if I saw a man in person that I was attracted to, it wouldn't matter if he was 6'2" or not. If I'm attracted to him, I'm attracted to him. Like, I'm very much so an energy person. I'm very much so a vibes person. But on these dating apps, I am so shallow and so fickle and so not who I am when I'm trying to date someone. Like, when I'm trying to date someone, like, if we vibe, we vibe. If we don't, we don't. Like, I am such a firm believer in, like, you cannot fake a connection or attraction. Like, you can fake so many things. You can fake a personality, you can fake being interested in the fact that they like sports, but if you do not have a connection with someone, like, you cannot fake that. You cannot fake a connection and sexual attraction. I just feel like when I'm on these dating apps, I'm judging people and I'm like, oh my God, they're not over 6'2". I could never. Or, oh my God, he puts up a lot of hiking pictures. Like, is he going to want me to go hiking with him? Or he puts up like a lot of these pictures and I don't really have interest in that, so I can't match with him. Or, his answer to that prompt was a little bit weird. So I'm not going to match with him. And it's just so shallow. And that's why I really don't like dating apps. And that's why I'm such the type of person that is, I love meeting people in person. Like I love seeing someone from like across the room or across the bar or across the wherever. I don't really go to bars often, so it's kind of rich me saying that. But I love when you see someone and you're like, who is that person? I've never seen them before and I'm so attracted to them. And then you kind of like make your way up to like wherever near them and you just kind of put yourself in eye shot and then you see, and then they see you and you see them and you catch a vibe. Like there is nothing better to me as opposed to like swiping on a dating app like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And for me as well, it depends what mood I'm in on the dating app. Like some days I could say yes to people that I would definitely not say yes to, and some days I could say no to people that if I saw them in person I would definitely swipe yes. Do you know what I mean? I think that has a big contributing factor as to why I haven't gone on any dates this year, because I'm not on the app. Like I have Hinge. I go on it once in a blue moon. To be honest, I changed my location. You can do that. I changed my location to Sydney because I'm manifesting like moving to Sydney. So I'm like, okay, let me see what the talent's like there. But also when I move to Sydney, I don't want to go on apps and like match with someone because they liked my pictures and I liked their pictures, and you know what I mean? Like I don't want that for myself. Like I really don't. Like I have no more interest in meeting someone that way. Of course, if I met someone that way, I met someone before that way. Now I knew of them, like I knew who they were. And it ended up great for a while. But I think because I'm in my hometown, I was like, I'm not going dating this year. Like we're not doing that. Like I'm living at home. I'm living in my childhood bedroom. Like I'm not about to be dating. My camera battery died and now we're at a weird angle, but we just have to roll with it. This year for me, whether I was living at home, whether I wasn't living at home, like this year was a personal growth year for me. I think a big thing I learned this year as well, and I think the reason why I need to be single this year to learn it, is like I learned my part to play in my relationships that have ended. Like I've learned not only why the relationship ended from my point of view on like them and my relationship to them, but also my relationship to the relationship. I actually came to the realization that there have been a few times in my relationships before where I'd be like, maybe I'm not feeling this, maybe I want to end the relationship. But I learned all about my attachment style, and I have an anxious attachment. So essentially, because of that anxious attachment style, it would make me act certain ways in relationships which I wouldn't actually want to act. I would just act that way as a reaction to how I'm feeling about the relationship or what I'm projecting onto the relationship. I wouldn't have learned that in a relationship. Like, do you know the way sometimes you have to be removed from a situation to look at it from like the outside looking in, like on the outside looking in, you don't know what it's like to be left out of the crowd, that vibe. So sometimes you have to be on the outside looking in to your past relationships to realize like, oh, this is how I'm part of the problem. This is how I've contributed to my breakups. This is what I have done wrong. Do you know what I mean? So I think if I didn't allow myself to be single this year for the fear that I would be alone forever and that no one would ever love me and that I'm 28 now and if I don't find a husband soon, life is ending. That's not my thoughts. But like if I allowed myself to think those things, or if I allowed society to imprint those things on me, I'm pretty sure my next relationship probably would have also failed. Whereas now, because I've spent this like year by myself, like I'm not saying, oh, 2023 is the year I'm gonna find my husband and we're gonna have an amazing relationship because of all the work I've done. But yeah, now because I allowed myself to not be in a relationship, and I'm not saying there's anything with being a serial monogamist or like going from relationship to relationship to relationship. Like you might be in love, you might have found the one, you might have realized all this about yourself within a relationship. But I'm saying for me personally, I think it was better for me to be like on the outside looking in for this year and just to not go on any dates, because I'm very much so, I'm a Taurus. I am as loyal as a goddamn pup. I've never used the word goddamn. I am as loyal as a puppy. Like if I'm seeing someone and I like them, I will give them that energy, and that's the energy I expect to receive in return. So I have no interest in casual dating. I have been the person, and maybe this is kind of linked to my attachment style, and maybe this is also something I have to work on, but I'm always the type of girly, right? I go on a date and I either never see the person again in my entire life in that way, in that like date scenario, or I go on a date and it cruises on to a relationship. Like, I have never gone on like 3 or 4 dates with someone. I have either gone on one date and never seen them again, or gone on one date and it has led to a relationship. Like, I don't have like the middle button. Like, I either have the on or the off switch. There is no middle switch with me in the way that I approach my relationships. That's just who I am. It's probably down to it's probably down to the Taurus in me, to be honest. Like, I don't know if anyone else is a Taurus, and I don't know if anyone else can relate to this statement, but I would love to have a roster of men, and I would love my exes to think that I have a roster of men going at all times, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to date him this week, and I'm going to go on a date with this guy next week. But like, I couldn't. Like, how do you have the interest in more than one person at one time? This isn't me judging anyone that does. Like, bestie, pop off. Like, you have your roster, you go on your dates. Like, I absolutely love that for you, and I absolutely envy that in a way. I just didn't go on any dates this year because I had no more interest, and I don't know what else you want me to say about that. But who knows what's going to happen in 2023? Do you know what I mean? If you also have not been on any dates this year, have not had any romantic interests, or you feel like maybe you want to take a break next year and you want to kind of figure yourself out, or maybe you're going through a breakup and you feel this mad, like wild pressure to be like, okay, well, I actually want to be single for a while because I'm kind of heartbroken, but also I'm 28 and like time is ticking. I'm telling you right now, time is not ticking. You are always on time for your own life. Listen to that again, because I heard this, I don't know where I heard it, probably on TikTok somewhere. You are always on time for your own life. No one can decide your life timing for you, or no one can decide that you are too late for something in your own life. You do what you got to do. And if you have a gut feeling that, you know, next year you want to just take some time for yourself and heal and figure things out, or if you've been feeling under pressure to get a relationship, or I need to get up close and personal with you for this last point. If you are in a relationship and you are not happy and you are not satisfied and you have thought many times that you don't want to spend the rest of your days with this person, but you feel like, oh, we've been together 7 years and that's such a waste of time if I break up with them and I'm throwing away all these years, or you're scared to break up with them because then you'll be alone, or you're scared to break up with them because you feel like you're a certain age now and you don't want to be single at your age, so you're just going to stay in the relationship because you do like them and you do get on, but in your head you're like, I'm not really feeling this relationship. Of course, number one, you can work on the relationship, you can go to therapy, you can go to like couples therapy, like pop off, do you. But if you're unhappy in a relationship and like truly unhappy and you really want to get out of it, but you're like, I'm too old, I don't want to be single, I don't want to waste time, like it's such a waste of time if I break up with them now. Bestie, I am telling you, is it going to be hard? Yes. Are you going to be heartbroken? Yes. Are you going to be like, maybe I shouldn't have broken up with them, maybe I wasn't that unhappy, maybe this, maybe that, maybe the other? Yes. But I promise you, there is no better time to work on yourself and work on your life and work on who you are and work on your business and work on your career and work on who you want to show up as the world, your confidence, your mind, body, soul, your spirituality. There is no better time to do all of that than when you are freshly single, because you have so much time to work on yourself. Do you know what I mean? Here's to 0 dates in 2022. If you have had 0 dates in 2022, so have I. And I'm still here thriving. Cheers to no dates. If you have a date this week, I want to hear all about it. If you're dating someone, I want to hear all about it. If you feel like you need to go on a break from dating, I want to hear all about it. I want to hear your dating stories. If you feel like you're going to hook up with an ex over the festive season, I want to hear all about it. I want to hear your dating stories. I want to live vicariously through you, because I've opened up and been vulnerable today about the fact that I have gone on 0 dates. So I want to hear all your tea. So yeah, I'll see you in tomorrow's vlog, besties. Cheers!